What's up? It's me again. This is my second video. I'm really excited to start this with you guys. So today, I said I was going to do like one serious video a month. So today is going to be the first like serious topic. So today I want to talk about anxiety and how it's kind of affected me and like a story time or two about it, and also the way that I can, like, some things that I do to help it. So, um, to start off with, I know that a lot of people struggle with anxiety. I know that it's a big thing, especially in our generation and in younger generations. It's like a huge thing. So, I think it's really important to address it. It's really important to talk about it because a lot of times, with different mental illnesses, people don't want to talk about it. So, um, for me, I think that, I just want to be the person who, like, says, yeah, I have anxiety, you're not by yourself. And if anybody sees this and they're like, I don't know if anybody else is feeling like this, I promise you there are hundreds of thousands of people who feel like this every day. So, to start off with, I have had anxiety since I was about 11. I was in 7th grade, and I remember going in every day to middle school, and I was so nervous. But then it got to the point where I would have literal panic attacks throughout the day because something was just different. I guess that transition from like elementary to middle school caused that something in my brain to be like, no, this isn't right. So, I would have to go to the office, um, because I was having panic attacks like every day, and that's not cool, So eventually, like middle halfway through 7th grade, we get like a Christmas break. After that break, I had gone to the doctor, and that's when I started my first like antidepressant. So when I did that, my panic attacks went away for a time, and they lasted until like what, 2 years, so like ninth grade. And then, you have to start over because your brain, as you age, changes. So when I started those, I was 11. And then by the time I was 13, it was like, I need to be on something different. So I've tried a bunch of different, antidepressant and anxiety medications. And you find the one that works for you. But it's nothing to be ashamed of, because I see a lot of the time people are like, well, no, I can't take medicine, because if I take medicine for depression, anxiety, anything else, that means that I'm crazy and people are going to see me as like somebody who needs mental health, right? That's not true at all. What you're doing is doing what's best for you. So it's so important to, take those steps and to be an advocate for your own mental health and do what you need to do to help yourself. So that's kind of that's how it started off. And then, yeah, I want to talk about a panic attack, because a panic attack is something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I've had so many. They're disgusting. They're gross. I hate them because, you literally, like, I'll wake up, morning, everything should be fine. Everything should be cool. And I'll wake up and I'm like, oh God, this is it. There's this one robot in Futurama, which is a really niche reference, but if you get it, you'll understand. And there's this one robot that like always, she runs on water and she walks to the ocean and she's like, oh God, I'll never make it this time. This is the end. And then she'll start screaming. And then and then she gets the water and she's like, oh, I'm fine. That's how a panic attack feels in the moment. And you don't think. You think you're gonna, like, this is over. And then 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long, passes, and you're like, okay, so this is good, I'm good. But in that moment, you can have, a racing heartbeat. You can have, your thoughts are going like a million miles an hour. You can sweat, you can shake, you do all kinds of stuff. And it can like mimic a heart attack, which is crazy to me that's something, that is chemically, in your head, you're anxious, and it can cause all of these symptoms. It's just wild to me. But I've had so many of those. I hate them every time they happen. I'm like, that's disgusting. This is gross. I hate it. So, what I've done to kind of alleviate that is to take every time that I feel anxious, I get up and do something. Because sitting there with your thoughts a lot of the times will lead to you kind of getting they call it ruminating, when you're going over and over and over something in your head. So I will get up and I will do something, and I have this like app on my phone that's just like a coloring book app, and you just like literally you hold your phone and you like tap the different colors, and like make a picture, whatever. It sounds stupid, but it helps because it's anything to occupy your mind, to take your mind off of how you're feeling at that moment mentally. Okay. And two, there's also this thing I learned in therapy in like 8th grade, because therapy is a good option too. I didn't talk about that, but it's good. Some people love it, some people don't like it. It's not for everybody, but for me personally, I learned what I needed to learn to deal with whatever is going on, and then I didn't really need to get back because I don't have that need to talk to someone constantly about things. It's just me. If I need to do that, I'll call a friend. I'll have a journal, which I talked about in my last video. It's like, I really need to get on that because it's been sitting in a drawer for God knows how long. But anyway, when I went to therapy in like 8th grade, he taught me this technique, and it's called tapping, right? So basically, you can't see my knees, so I'm going to put my hands here. You put both your hands on your knees, and you close your eyes, and you do this on your knees. And you think a thought, but like, oh, everything's going to be all right. There's nothing to be worried about right now. Things like that. And literally, I don't know what it is. He said it was something about like opening up a pathway in your mind to like get the good thoughts to go through. And it really, really, really worked for me. Every time I would feel anxious or panicky, and I still do it to this day. It's been however many years that's been. So like 14 years ago, that I learned that, and still I use it. So it's just an amazing strategy. It's, this great thing that I learned that I still use. But yeah, so that's kind of the, how I started off with anxiety, plus like some tips to help. And now I'm going to tell you guys a story of just, a time that I experienced some anxiety and what I did in that moment to help it. So this is about 2 weeks ago. I was just sitting in my room. I was watching, what was I watching? Oh, I was watching Attack on Titan because I'm late and I'm old, and yeah, great show, watch it. But anyway, I was watching that, and then all of a sudden, I just got this feeling of like overwhelming dread. It's like something bad has happened. And literally nothing bad has happened at all. I'm in my room watching TV. Nothing bad has happened to me. And when I did get that feeling, I was like I mentioned earlier, I was like, oh God, this is it. Like I'm done. I'm finished. This is the one that's going to get me, because it can cause like pain down your arm and like, derealization, which if you don't know, is kind of like you're watching your life as a movie, which is a super gross, horrible feeling. But once you have like anxiety for a long time, you're able to realize like, so this is what's happening right now. There's nothing wrong with me. Nothing bad is gonna happen to me. I'm chilling. I'm just having like a lot of anxiety. So what I did was I closed my computer and I got up and I literally walked just around the house, and I came outside and I saw my cat, and by the time that I had like walked around and come back and gotten my body like out of that seated position and kind of said, everything's fine, I'm just gonna walk around, it really helped me. That doesn't help everybody, but it helps me a lot. So that's what I did for that. But there have been so many other times where I would just be like eating breakfast and then it feels like the world is about to explode. And which is a ridiculous thing that's even a thing. That anxiety is even a thing is really weird to me, because why am I worried about something that did not happen and is not going to happen? But whatever. And I always make this joke like that. If anxiety could be like converted into power, the whole East Coast could run off of just me. So any scientists that want to like convert anxiety into power, call me, hit me up, because I could do it for you. But it's a serious thing. It's not, I'm laughing because it's been so long. But to somebody that's just going through this, it's going to feel really weird and really scary. But I want you to know that you're not by yourself. A lot of people have it, and a lot of people are like me and have had it a long time, okay? And just because you have it doesn't mean that it's like the end of everything, and it can feel like that, because you can feel like, oh, now I can't go out with my friends, now I can't do this or that or whatever. Or driving is a big thing with anxiety. You're like, I'm too anxious to drive. And all of that can be helped with therapy, medication, meditation, anything like that you find that helps you is important, because anxiety is not specific to one person. It's different for every single person that has it, okay? And it's so important that you find your own way of treating it. And you don't have to go to a doctor if you don't want to, right? There are other ways. There are like homeopathic, I think, ways to fix it, to help it. And like just the little technique that I mentioned with the tapping, like that helped me so much before I was on any medication that, I thought that was going to be enough. And in my case, it got severe enough that I needed medication for it. But not everybody does, because for some people, it's this thing where it's like, oh, I have anxiety in big spaces, with like a lot of people, or I have anxiety about going to this place, or different things like that. It's different for everyone, and it's so important to figure out, what's the root of this. And if there is no root cause, like there is for me, because I could just, like I said, I was chilling in my room and there I was, and it's such a crushing feeling. It's like over, it's just like, I'm over. I keep saying that, but it's like, that's how it feels. It's like, this is it. This is the last one, because that's how it feels to me. It feels that serious in the moment. And then I wake up the next morning, I'm like, oh my God, what was that about? Like it was never that serious. But in the moment, it feels so crazy. And it feels so just like heart stopping, and this just crazy amount of thoughts and feelings and everything coming at you at once, and it's disgusting. Really, that's the word for it. It's disgusting. I hate it. And like I said, I've dealt with it a long time. I even went to college for psychology because I wanted to be a therapist. And then as I got later into the program, I was like, damn, I'm really like mentally ill. Like I'm anxious and have some depression going on. Maybe I shouldn't be a therapist until I fix my stuff. So I did, like I didn't finish it. It's fine. A lot of people have things that they don't finish. It's fine. I'm living my best life. I'm happy, like I'm doing good. So don't let it stop you from doing things, but also don't feel obligated to push through things that you just don't want to do, because you're afraid of, your anxiety taking control of you. Like there's a difference between like, oh, I don't want to drive this, 10-hour drive because I don't like driving. And then, oh, I don't want to drive this because I'm anxious and I'm going to swerve and I'm going to flip my car a million times and there will be no survivors. So, like, it's a different thing, So, my point in all of this, all that I've said, my stories, my kind of analysis, my little techniques, is that anxiety is not something to be ashamed of at all. Don't be ashamed of what you're struggling with, right? Because there's help out there. There's other people that are going through the same thing that you are, even if it feels like you're the only person on earth. I felt like that. And, that there is like hope and there's help, and you don't have to feel like this all the time. Like, you're gonna be okay. It will be fine. It might not feel like it right now, or in a week, or in a month, but eventually you'll be fine. Nothing lasts forever. Even the bad things don't last forever. Everything comes and goes. So like today, I'm not anxious at all. Tomorrow, who knows? But I hope that this video is like useful to people who have anxiety and want to hear from somebody else who has it, know that they're not by themselves, and that everything is all right, and that, we all kind of go through this same thing. Or somebody who's like just experiencing anxiety for the first time and is like, what is this? Like, why do I feel like this? What can I do to help it? So for anybody who's doing that, I'm glad that you have come here and watched this, and hopefully I've been able to help, and you've been able to see, like, I'm not the only person who is dealing with this. It's so important too to find a community. Like my best friend, she has anxiety bad too. She doesn't have it like I do, but she has it. Like so many people. I can't even begin to imagine a figure of like the percentage of people in the world who have anxiety, because even some people who have it, like, don't talk about it. And it's something that needs to be talked about. Mental health needs to be talked about and destigmatized throughout all communities everywhere. We need to have an open and honest discussion about how we feel, because that's the only way to get better, is to acknowledge, like, yeah, I feel like shit right now, and we need to do something about it. So it's just so important to talk about it. Talk about it with someone you trust. Talk about it with a friend. Talk about it with a therapist. Talk with your doctor. Write in a journal. There's so many things you can do to get these thoughts that are floating in your head out of your head. And it's so, like I keep saying, it's so important to talk about it. Because keeping things bottled up, and I know especially as like men with anxiety, they're like, well, as a man, you should keep everything bottled up, and you should not talk about your feelings because you're tough and all this. No, that's not true at all. Like, talk about how you're feeling, bro. Talk about it. And don't let anybody tell you that you should be ashamed for how you're feeling, because you shouldn't be. Because you can't help it. If I could help having anxiety, I would not have anxiety at all, because it's disgusting and I hate it and it's gross. So, I think that's going to be the end of this video. I hope that this has helped. And like I said, if you're having it for the first time, if you're struggling with it like I am, and you can come here and see, well, Clayton has it too. I'm not by myself. So, yeah, but like, let me know, if you want any more like tips or things on anxiety, because like I've been doing it forever. Like I understand it on a way that like you can read it in a textbook, but you also, like, to know it, you have to feel it. So if you want more videos about things like this that I've been through, that I have tips for, then let me know. And if not, then that's okay too. So love you guys. Please like and subscribe for more, and I will see you next Tuesday.